Begin takeoff procedure.
This is episode 62 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dio Morales, and today I'm joined by, I'm off the board, bro, Nate Moore.
Where am I at? Where am I at? I think this is going to be fun. We're going to have a fun time.
They saved the Hawk, William Haywood.
Moldy Crow's back.
Woo! Welcome back, Moldy Crow.
And lost, ... Marcel Manzano.
I think it's a good time to learn how to fly quad TLTs.
Yeah, no, not so much. So before we go too far and we get into our topics today, I want to remind you guys that we're doing tons of live streaming at minimum 3 times a week. And actually this week you're going to get 4 doses of Gold Squadron podcast stream. You have your Monday night stream, which those of you who are joining us live, thank you for joining us. We'll be streaming Wednesday night from League Night. We'll be focusing on 2.0 and kind of putting some builds together and trying out some of these new things that we've seen spoiled in the conversion kits. And there's no Friday grab bag this week because I'll be flying to California for the System Open
not the only one.
at KublaCon. Well, I'm the only one working. You're over there playing, and I'm working, right? Right, exactly. So we'll be streaming Saturday and Sunday from KublaCon, and yeah, you get your games in there. And people are actually still going to be trying hard because people want that Coruscant Open invitation because that gets you into the first ever premiere event for 2.0. So I'm expecting some great games. So that's on the docket this week, and of course we'll be back on next Monday, live. Transition here. I need to figure out how to do these transitions. You know what? Because if I can just do them live, I don't have to edit them in. We'll figure that out for.
I have
next
noticed you've missed a couple edits.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, I gotta edit this together. It happens. So, gentlemen, today, FFG dropped an article on our heads that said, "Hey, here you go, Gold Squadron." I mean, it wasn't too much. It was some things that we knew already.
That was kind of nice of them.
Yeah, but it was very kind, very kind. They're like, "Hey, do you want something?" So I figured we go through that. The title of the article was called "Take Action," and essentially what they were doing is focusing on the action bars, what they look like now, the fact that we have red actions, which if you're not caught up in 2.0, red actions essentially are things that it's harder for your pilot to do, and they give you a stress if you do the action. In connection, there's also linked actions. William, can you explain linked actions to us?
So ships have all their actions printed, but if they have I believe they're all white actions that then have an arrow into a red action, and if you do one, you could then do the second action, referred to as the link action, but this second action will give you a stress, very similar to Push the Limit as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have it built in now.
Exactly. Well, some. Not everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets it, but some
Not
people
everyone
get
gets cool like that.
And then I think they showed us 2 new pieces of information, and we got spoilers for Old Tarak, which we will talk about in the Scum Protectorate section when we get there. And they also gave us R5D8. We're going to go ahead and talk about him now because I think his mechanic is interesting, and I didn't include him in the notes yet because it's brand new. So R5D8 says it's a droid, and it says Rebel only, or it says Rebel, so that's the prerequisite in order to be able to put this on. And it says action, spend 1 charge to repair 1 face-down damage card. Or action, is your other option, repair 1 face-up ship damage card. So you get to do this 3 times, and you're either ditching damage cards altogether, or you're flipping down the ship cards. What are your thoughts on this, Marcel?
I like it. I like it better than I think it's a little strong, but again, you don't know how much they're gonna play with the points in order to keep it balanced. So, in theory, I like it. It keeps regen in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like regen. I don't, but some people do.
Yep.
And yeah, I think one of the things that I don't know yet, maybe you guys can let me know, because again, I was out of it for a little bit, is that little lightning strike thing that has 3. Is that like the epic of how many charges you have to use? And then after it's gone, it does it recharge?
It does not recharge.
It does not
So
recharge.
okay, so basically it's 3. You get to do it 3 times. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a permanent regen. So it sounds pretty good, pretty thematic too, because it's the droids helping clean up the damage.
Yep, they're like, oh no, stuff's going
I saw
wrong.
something that does recharge your charges, or
Well, there are certain abilities specifically that allow you to recharge charges. I mean, we'll probably get to some of those today, but it's very specific in instances.
What
and
if, like, you spent an action to like recharge something? Or I saw like some people were talking about, oh, if you reload, does that reload charges? I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
yeah, so we'll have to see. I know chargers are a way to keep these abilities in check, and even if there is a way to get chargers back, if they cost you actions, then that's costing you things in the game. So I'm okay with that. As long as you're not getting stuff for free, that's when things start getting out of hand. But of course, we can always adjust the points. So, or not we, the devs. William, you were gonna say
you are
something?
getting stuff.
Yeah, I was actually going to note that on that R5D8 card, you only need to spend a charge when you repair a face-down damage card. You can repair any face-up ship cards.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. So, like, what was the astromech? Was it Salvage astromech that used to be able to kind of like throw those out, or?
Yeah, for the Scum, it was salvaged.
Yeah. What was the one for Rebel? Was there one
for R5?
R5, that's right.
Yep. All right, so just new card there, pretty cool mechanic, and yeah, so good. Thank you, William, for pointing that out. The fact that only that top action requires you to spend the charges, not the second one. So, I figure we go straight into our talk about the conversion kits. On Monday, I kind of did initial reactions. I've spent the last couple days just compiling everything, editing the pictures, and making sure that we could really just take our time and get through everything that was spoiled in the conversion kits. There's tons of pilots, tons of pilot cards and upgrades and things. So we'll start with what faction do you want to start with, Marcel, since you're feeling lost?
Well, I think I want to start with the Scum because that's probably one I want to play first.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up that Scum link here, and here we go. Is everybody have that up?
Yup. Yes, Mr. Morales.
Marcel, you got it up?
Yep, I got it up. Wait, yes.
There's a joke there.
Had to make it awkward.
No, there isn't.
Had to make it awkward. All right, so.
Like, sure, for the Scum I do. Yeah.
Right, for the Scum you do. So they revealed the quad jumper. We hadn't seen this card before. Go ahead and give us the breakdown on that, William.
All right, so Gunrunner, similar stats as before, had 2 attack, 2 agility, and 5 hull. So still has focus and barrel roll actions that are white. Does have the Space Tug Tractor action built right into it. Says choose one ship in your primary firing arc at range 1. That ship gains 1 tractor token, or 2 tractor tokens if it's in your bullseye. Which is now built in, so you could don't need the extra card to do that. Its dial is relatively the same. I believe it gets a 2 forward green that it didn't. No, I did have that 3 forward green before. It just replaces its 1 forward reverse for a 2 forward, or excuse me, a 2 reverse maneuver, which does allow it to go 2 back, 2 forward infinitely, which is what I thought they stopped with its previous dial, but I guess that's okay. Oh, they also have
I think it gained a sloops, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It gained
no, it had 2 sloops before. It was the only K turn it had.
Did it? Right.
It does get a red evade action, which is pretty good. Also, I will say that the tractor in your bullseye is really interesting, because actions should be important. So the more you can get out of a single action, the better.
Oh yeah, so it says in the bullseye you be able to give 2 of those. Well, especially with the new rules, they did talk about this on the conversion kit reveals, is that if you can get 3 tractor tokens on a large base ship in the same turn, you can move it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that is cool.
So we assume that 2 would move a medium base then.
Yes, that's exactly what they said.
Oh, so that's the 1, 2, or 3.
Yep,
okay.
1, 2, or 3. So that's how. Same thing for ions. That's how that's gonna work.
1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's really cool. The fact that they gave it an opportunity to stack on a couple more, and it just it makes these quad jumpers more scary. And I think that's why, William, you talked about being able to go 2 backwards, 2 forward. They allowed that to be a thing because quad jumpers were underpowered in our current meta. They're like, you know what? Let's give them a little bump. Let's see what happens.
Actually, I played against a guy at Worlds who had 5 of these, and they all had what's the not pattern analyzer? Is that the one that lets you perform focuses, or if you're stressed or something? Yeah, he did that, and basically what you would do is you'd move them all forward and then back them all up, get a focus, move them back forward again, and try to tractor beam. It was shenanigans. It was pretty ridiculous, but when one's reducing your agility and the other ones all have focuses and are throwing dice at you, it tends to do something. Is it the best thing ever? No, but it's going to be interesting to see if these things work now.
All right, and then we got Unkar Plut. Marcel, go for it.
Oh my! Hold on. My internet's stuck.
Got him.
Unkar Plut, Initiative 2. At the start of the engagement phase, if there are 1 or more other ships at range 0, you and each other ship at range 0 gain 1 tractor token. Yeah, so this time you get it yourself as well. And choose a ship at range 1. Choose a ship in your primary.
Yeah, so that's the same thing that we had.
That's the same one. Yeah, that's basically the title. Yeah, or the mod. But yeah, so it actually does it to all the ships. Did it always do it to all the ships, or that it was only 1?
No, yeah, it was always all the ships. So this ability actually isn't any different. It just corrects the type of wording we're using now, the range 0. That's it. So same deal there. We learned that he's Initiative 2. And then we'll move on here to the aggressors. They showed
it's not the same as before because
one thing I want to
because you tractor yourself.
That was that way. Was that maybe the crew card I'm thinking of? Let's go ahead.
That's the crew card because you never tractored yourself before.
This could be interesting because if you tractor beam yourself, then technically can't you
move yourself
roll away, and then if you tractor beam yourself, then basically you're barrel rolling away and you're not touching them more, and then all the other people technically could barrel roll or move somewhere else too.
Yeah, you would move yourself and the ship the others. Mm-hmm. You're right. That wasn't that way. So the touching part is still the same. The added part is that Unkar also tractor beams himself.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. They also showed off all 4 of the aggressors. So we have that there. Nate, you like to play a lot of Brobot, so let's go ahead. I know, used to, exactly. So let's go ahead and take a look at our IGs. Let's go ahead in ABC order. Go ahead and start with
ABC order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start with IG88.
Yeah, A got switched. Before he used to regen, and a lot of people didn't really use A because it required you to kill ships. And if you're going against 2 ship builds, then that's only maximum of 2 shields, even just 1 shield that you're going to regen in a game. But now it says at the start of engagement phase, you may choose 1 friendly ship with what is that, calculate token?
Mm-hmm, calculate.
On your action bar at range 1 to 3. If you do, you transfer 1 of your calculate tokens to it. The advanced droid, brain, after you perform a calculate action, gain 1 calculate token. Do we know what calculate's doing it yet, or?
Yeah, so they also talked about that. Calculate is
robot ability.
It's a robot. Well, they're going to use it on a lot of droids, but the idea is that you can change 1 focus to a hit or an evade. It's the same thing that the force token does is what calculate does. Except because it's a different token, they can use it on different things. Thematically, they're going to be giving it to droids.
I got you.
And all 4 of the IGs have that ship ability, the Advanced Droid Brain. They still have the IG 2000 title available, where all of them are able to share each other's ability. Marcel, IG 88B, please.
B. Here we go. It is after you perform an attack that misses, you may perform a bonus cannon attack. So no difference.
C is also the same as what we've had before. After you perform a boost action, you may perform an evade action. And lastly, IG-88D, same as before.
Actually, no, because now he could do what, a straight forward template, or
right? Yeah, so it's very similar. Sorry, it's similar to what it's done before. Go ahead and read that one, Nate.
While you execute a Signor's loop, left or right maneuver, you may use another template of the same speed instead, either of the turn. So this is their weird way of kind of explaining it a different way. But they said now you can use the either, obviously the hard left or the hard right of the same direction, or the straight forward template. So if you dial in a Signor's loop, you can go straight instead.
Well, you can go straight and turn. I think they're saying that this just ends up being a K turn.
Yep, it's a 3K or hard 3K turn.
Yeah.
No, or it says a straight foot. It doesn't say.
It says because you have to still execute the Segnor's loop part, which is the turning around. You still have to turn around, so you're either hard turn and then turning 180, or straight, which basically just makes it a K turn.
Yeah. So basically, you're like, oh man, I'm in a bad spot. I can either go left, like easy left, or turn around.
Anything different about that dial, William?
They have a 4 forward now.
Yeah, they didn't have a 4 forward before, so it makes them even faster now.
Well, not really, because they're on a medium base.
This
is true. Oh, they are.
Yeah,
they'll still be fast,
but not as fast. I mean, they're going to be fast, but like it'll, the medium base shortens it by, what is that, a quarter of a base or something like that? A third of a base?
That's still going to be faster.
Alrighty, so they went ahead and talked about the Star Viper. Shout out to our boy Jeremy. He loves his Star Vipers, and they showed off 3 here. So Black Sun Enforcer is your Initiative 2 guy and has focus, target lock, barrel roll linked to focus, and boost linked to focus. And its ship ability that all of them have, it says micro thrusters. While you perform a barrel roll, you must use the bank left or right template instead of the straight. So what the Virago, not the Virago title, what was the other Star Viper? Mark III title did.
Mark II.
Yep. You have to do the same thing, but now it's forever. Like, Star Vipers can never use a straight barrel roll. You always have to use the bank.
That makes sense because they're so weird to fly and everything, and they're so squirrely and weird that that totally makes sense in those things.
Now remember, you still have to use the rules with using the middle line notch. So there's no slippy slidey there. You have to align it with those notches there. So you have an Initiative 2 pilot. Then at Initiative 4 you have Prince Shizor.
Thank you for pronouncing his name correctly.
You're welcome. And his ability now reads, while you defend, after the neutralize results step, which seems to be after you kind of you figure out, all right, how many dice cancel what. Another friendly ship at range 0 to 1 and in the attack arc may suffer 1 hit or crit damage. If it does, cancel 1 matching result. So essentially, they're taking the damage for you, as long as they are also in the arc of the person that was shooting Prince Caesar.
Was that the old ability, or is it just if like someone's near him, you could just shrug it off?
I'm not sure. I definitely didn't fly him.
It's the same ability. The only difference is now you have to be in the arc before you did it.
Do you notice that Caesars are actually less now? His pilot score initiative is smaller than Guri.
Yes.
Yeah, they've turned Guri into the ace.
Which is fine. I think that's correct, right? The bodyguard should be better at fighting than the person they're defending.
Thematically, yeah, I think Guri was a better fighter. Well, I don't know. Twitch chat, can you research, was Guri a better fighter than Shizor?
There you go. We'll give him some homework. So Guri now says at the start of the engagement phase, so that's when you are about to roll dice and things. If there is at least one enemy ship at range 0 to 1, you may gain 1 focus token. So very similar to the old ability. Now notice that it does give her a focus token, not a calculate token. So you have the ability to get calculate focus each turn.
Oh yeah, and do you have her calculate because she's a droid? Yeah. Interesting.
So you have to make that decision whether you're going to want to use calculate like which one are you going to use offensively, which one are you going to use defensively, focus or calculate.
Interesting. I like it.
So we got some more spoilers for the Fire Spray class patrol craft. If you don't know already, medium base, and the new pilot that they spoiled here was Kath Scarlet. Go ahead and give that to me, William.
All right, Kath Scarlet. While you perform a primary attack, if there is at least one friendly, non-limited ship at range 0 of the defender, roll 1 additional attack dice. Friendly, non-limited would be a generic ship. And then range 0 would mean you would have to be touching them. So most likely a lower pilot skill generic blocked the defender, and Kath gets an extra dice.
That's really weird.
Well, an extra attack dice should be something very strong. So to set this up, it would give you still 4 or 5 dice out the front or back, which would be very good still.
Yeah, it's got a. You have to be able to do work in order to get these abilities off. I think the whole idea. Yeah. Yep. And then go ahead.
Wait, really quickly. Isn't she like Cat Scarlet's from what? The RPG game, right? Like the actual like textbook RPG. So I think like the whole thing is the Benari Pirates. You know, the Z95s were part of like her whole thing, so that's probably something thematic within that.
Well,
this kind of makes sense.
You went into my next point. Unfortunately, it looks like it didn't. It didn't make.
I'm psychic. I'm so awesome.
It didn't make it into my notes. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up here. They actually.
I'm awesome.
They actually revealed the new title that goes with her. I'm gonna see how quickly I can pull this up. And whether
it does say Captain of the Benari Pirates.
It's the Marauder. It says while you perform a rear primary attack, you may reroll 1 dice. Get a gunner slot.
Get a gunner. Dang.
Yeah, but there was another one, wasn't there? I feel like.
That's the Marauder, which is the same paint scheme as her. It's underneath the dial on there. You can barely see the ship.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. I feel like I'm missing something. Chat, correct me because I feel like there was something else. Not whatever. I believe you. Yeah, that's the Marauder title. We'll continue. Yeah. So yeah.
What's the new icon with hers too? Like that arrow.
That's
a reinforce.
It's a red reinforce.
She can reinforce.
Yeah.
I heard that reinforce isn't a dice modifier. It just cancels a hit until there's a minimum of 1.
Yeah, so the whole reinforce has been changed, and the reason they talked about it on the conversion stream was that now 2 dice attack ships actually have an opportunity to do damage.
Okay.
So minimum of 1. It's still very strong. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it reduces it, so there's a minimum.
So that's like to a minimum of 1 hit left.
Okay.
So if I throw 1 hit and you throw 0 evades on your dice, and you have reinforce, your reinforce did nothing. And also the rule for reinforce has changed. You have to be either fully in the front or fully in the back. That's the other change that's happened. They've changed the mechanic. It's not like, you know how before it was pretty much that...
The front was bigger than the back, yeah.
Exactly. The front was bigger than the back. Now they've made it even Stevens, which means that if you are 50-50, like if you are on the side where you're on both, reinforce doesn't work.
So, like, what if you're like 75-25? You know, like
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. If you're in both arcs, you're just SOL.
Well, you're not SOL. The person who's reinforced is SOL.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then what that is discouraging is the people, think about how Azutuks fly right now. They just kind of keep turning, and they'll keep you in that little clip of the arc.
Yeah.
By like you said, it's about 75-25, and reinforced is still engaged. That doesn't work anymore. It's pretty sweet. I'm a fan.
Interesting.
Let's keep it moving. M3A Interceptor. They tweaked the dial on this.
Kuska Frost.
That wasn't revealed on the conversion stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine.
M3A Interceptor. Marcel, go ahead and give us some of that info there.
All right. It's 2331. And did they reveal the dial already, or?
It's right next to it.
No, I'm saying is that we're talking about that?
This is new, yeah.
All right, so it's got a 3K and a 5K. Really looks very similar to the current dial. So it doesn't look a lot different. Did it always have a 5? No, it didn't. It never had a. Wait, did it have a? It didn't have a. It only had 1K turn, not 2. It had a 4K turn, I believe.
Yeah, I think I only had 4, so now it's got 2 of them. But I think everything else is the same.
Yeah, everything else is the same, and just like everything else, they included the title as part of the ship that you can equip a cannon, torpedo, or missile upgrade.
And
I'm double checking this.
And it also made it so that there is no such thing as like the light seek. They decided that was a bad idea.
No. Yeah, auto crits is no.
No, it had 2 K turns before. It had a 3 and a 5. They gave it the 5 straight, which it never had before.
So a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And notice now, no, that's the same as before. Okay, so yeah, pretty similar there. We'll see what they do with the point costs when that's revealed. Now, Marcel, let's talk about the Jump Master.
Dang,
Let's not.
Dinger got screwed.
All right, we have to.
All right, so
they gutted this thing. Oh my god,
so
they gutted it.
What's payback?
So it's basically like a dog chasing its tail now. It's just gonna turn to the left and only to the left, always to the left. All right turns are red.
Oh man.
Yeah, just the regular turns are red, and then they took away the green or the blue left turns. So it's got to turn. If it wants to turn, it's going to have a red turn, and then you're going to have to go soft to get rid of that stress. Very painful. Hurts my soul. On the bright side, they gave them all basically a pseudo push the limit. I think that's cool, but that push the limit really only works for moving the arc. So kind of sort of okay. And talk about Dengar.
Well, hold on.
What about the red barrel roll?
Yeah, the red barrel roll. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah. The barrel roll is everything is stressful on this thing. Looking at it is stressful.
It's important to it's important to note that it does not have a front arc. It only has the mobile arc.
Only a 90-degree mobile arc too.
Right, only a 90-degree mobile arc.
Only the 90-degree.
These things better be like as cheap as a TIE fighter. I swear to God. Yeah. And then my poor Dengar. After you defend, if the attacker is in your primary arc, you may spend one of your little chargy thingy tokens to perform a bonus attack against the attacker.
And how many of those does he get?
One.
One
per round.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say again.
It is 1 per round.
Could you say that in Spanish?
One per round. That's the same.
Could you say it in Italiano?
I don't know.
Una, due, tre, quattro, cinque, sei, sette, ocho, nueve. I forget what time it is.
This is not a Rosetta Stone podcast. Anyway.
It could be. Hey, Rosetta Stone, can you please sponsor us? Sponsor Ghost Squadron Podcast.
Anyway. So Dengar's ability essentially hasn't really changed. But notice how this has to have that mobile arc has to be in the front. So you're managing the arc. Dengar's going to essentially have it always pointed to the front. in order to get his ability off. And he's only a threat in the front now. You can come on the sides and back and be okay.
Well, you can always do that.
Yeah, I know, but he had a turret. It's like, oh, you're at the side of me, I still get to shoot you with my 4-dice turret.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And then
he sucks. I think he better be free. I'm just saying that's the only way they're gonna see playtime. There's like cannon fodder. Just don't even put a turret on them. Just let them bump and get in the way of stuff. Call it a day.
So I think if there is a way to make the barrel roll white, I think we have an opportunity. Wait, isn't expert handling do that?
Yep.
Or is that small base only?
I think it's just an EBT slot. I don't think it has a restriction.
Let's see. We have it. It's on the bottom of the bottom of our document here. Scrolling. It's EBT red barrel roll to white. Okay, so I think that's gonna be staple to the Jump Master. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah, and it'll be stable to the Jump Master in your trunk somewhere, not on the table.
So you're somewhere.
Yeah, but Dion, there's still the title.
Oh yeah, we hadn't even got there yet. So go ahead, William.
So punishing 1, Jump Master 5,000 only, Scum only, for just to make sure. While you perform a primary attack, if the defender is in your primary firing arc, the forward-facing one, roll 1 additional attack die, remove your crew, get your droid, or get a droid, excuse me. So you still can roll 4 dice at range 1, 3 dice inside your arc, but now you can also get your droid back. Dengar buff.
Womp womp.
They're like, fine, we maimed you in other ways. You can have a robot now. And that is that. Remember, it's one thing I don't know if you guys have noticed, that they got rid of the Scum droid. The salvage astromech isn't a thing anymore. It's just one symbol for all mechs, and they qualify it with either Scum or Rebel or nothing in the bottom left-hand corner.
I'm sure they could change that too if they really need to nerf it.
Yep.
So I always thought that, like, after like the whole the whole jump master nerf and everything, I felt like punishing 1 should have gave them back the droid. That would have made Dinger viable again.
Well, what ifs?
They heard your pleas and they did it.
That's right. Well, here's the thing. I think because they did put this on the card, they will probably never, or I can't never say never, but they probably won't adjust. Like, let's say Marcel figures out how to just make it super broken, right? He's like, I found the secret formula. All they're going to do is just raise the point cost. They're like, all right, fine, here you go. It costs, 20 more points. And then you're like, dang it, I can't make it work anymore. Since they did commit to this crew slot interaction on this card. So that
do we know if they'll raise a cost of a specific upgrade on a specific ship? Like, let's say, oh, that really broken thing. Oh, it's 1 point on everything else, but on that ship, it's 20 points.
No, it'll be just across the board.
Okay.
It's for simplicity's sake. That was a question that a lot of people have been asking, but for simplicity's sake. So, as we move on from the buried Jump Master, we'll go to.
Well, actually, that title probably doesn't bury it completely. That's kind of sexy.
All right.
A crew and droid is looking a little good.
You lose a crew.
I feel like
remove. Okay, no, I hate it. Okay, I'm done.
I feel like Marcel's at a bar, where his ex is a Jump Master and he's getting back on the game and he sees a new, sexier kind of Jump Master across the bar, winking at him. And he's like, "Ooh, hello! It's been so early. I mean, I just got so burned and so scorched, but I'm open to love again."
All right, guys.
Yeah, but these are like beer goggles here.
All right,
these things are not nice.
All right,
takes her home. It's like,
we got to keep moving because we still got two and a half factions to get through. And
look at your dial.
We're already at 35 minutes. So
all right.
So YV666 light freighter, still has 3 attacks. Still has the 180 arc. They do have that marked in with that new arc symbol there. 1 agility, 9 hull, 3 shields. So they changed
the 12.
Right. It's it's always been 12, but now they shifted. Instead of it being 6 shields and 6 hull, it's 3 shields, 3 hull. That's one thing that they talked about on the stream. They want to focus on letting things take crits. Like, it's fine, do damage, let things die. Dial, looking at the dial, I believe the 4 straight being white, is that new?
No, that's always been there.
It's the same dial.
Same dial? Okay.
It's the exact same thing.
Lies of the Jedi. It's all the same. Focus, reinforce, and it's white. Thank you for the follow. It's white. So it has reinforced because it uses that 180 arc. Everything has a 180 arc now, at least marked on the base. So yeah, reinforce. That's its new shindig here. And let's talk. And that's the Trandoshan Slaver is at Initiative 2. I want to talk about Bosk at Initiative 4, and we'll save Moralo for last. Bosk says, while you perform a primary attack, after the neutralize result step, you may spend 1 crit result to add 2 hits result. So same ability as before, nothing different there. All stats are the same.
Well, you can't use it with secondary weapons now, like cannons or missiles.
Exactly.
Oh, you're right. It says primary attack. How lame.
Well, it's not lame. It's just different.
Yeah. Morale eval.
Alrighty. So morale eval. William, go for it.
This is definitely my favorite new ability.
Off the board.
If you would flee, which is going off the board, you may spend 1 charge of Moralos 2. If you do, place yourself in reserves instead. Which is off the side but not dead. At the start of the next planning phase, place yourself within range 1 of the edge of play that you fled from. That's gonna be so you won't have to turn this thing around. Just keep going till the board edge. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah. This is fine. Bring it back.
Yeah. And the good thing is you don't start in the same place. You can go off one corner and come back.
Yeah, and you can turn around like very easily, like around somebody.
Oh yeah, you can't really. If this thing's near the board edge, you can't go chasing it because you don't know if it's just gonna hard 3 off that round.
Yep, and it has.
And then it'll just pop back out.
It has 3 feet of space that it can pop in. Yeah, and even though it is only 2 times, like 2 times is enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
If you really wanted to, you could fly off the first round, come back the second, fly off the other round, and you could go from corner to corner in just 2 rounds. Pretty fast.
Oh, wait, yeah. If you actually, if you do a hard right, like, if you're in the corner facing out, you do a right turn, then all of a sudden you're on the other side of the board coming straight at them at a 90 degree. Yeah, wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, you can get from diagonally from corner to corner in 2 turns.
The Han Solo, like the Han Solo from the Force Awakens one should have been. That is way more thematic than on this random guy.
Well,
like Trandoshan. What is Moralo eval? What race is he? I'm gonna.
Moralo is a connive. He's a very conniving alien guy who's he's in it for himself, and he's got a dirty trick. It's cool. It's a very cool trick.
I just thought that's way more Han Solo than Moralo.
Nate, our consummate complainer. Gotta love him. Just
I'm
love
not
it.
Complaining.
You lies to the Jedi.
He's a Findian? I don't know what that is.
Exactly. Get good at your lore. So yeah, that's cool. And then the last thing I want to talk about here is the Houndstooth title. I find this is really cool. So before, the old Houndstooth let you have the Nash Top Pup. You had to pay some extra points for it and all that. But now it says, Scum, YV666, and it says 1 Z95 AF4, so a Scum Z, can dock with you. Now, a couple things about docking. You can dock and undock over and over again. Like, you can undock the ship and bring it back. With Moralo, you can have a ship undocked, bring it docked, or like dock it, go off the board, come back, and undock it.
Well, the pup says you can only deploy via emergency deployment.
Well, this Z is any Z95. You can throw in any of the named guys or generics. It doesn't have to just be the Nash Top Pup.
That's true. Oh, oh.
Shenanigans.
You don't say. You don't say.
But you have to wait till you blow up and you come out with the damage.
No,
only with the pup.
That's only with the Nash Top Pup. All the other ones you can go in and out as you please.
What? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Marcel's getting excited.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And with this new docking rule, that applies to all docking. So great point here in the chat. Docking is going to be awesome with like the Gazanti. When Epic does come back around, you're going to have these options too. So that'll be fun. Z95 is our next one. Since we're talking about Zs. I'm looking at the dial. That looks pretty much the same. Is there anything I'm missing there?
3 forward and blue and 4K.
And the 4K. There it is. Yep. Getting that little bit of extra distance.
And a red barrel roll.
Red barrel. It's fine. This ship won't break. I promise. Red barrel.
Pretty good.
Yep. Nash Top Up was revealed, and like William was saying, you can deploy only via emergency deployment, and you have the name, initiative, and pilot ability, and ship charges of the friendly destroyed Houndstooth.
Are they refreshed or the same amount?
Oh, yeah.
Say that again.
Are they the same amount, like, or are they refreshed? Probably the same.
The same amount.
The same.
So if you wanted to, you could like run off the board and come back on with a Z95 or something.
Yeah, you could be the you could use Moralo's ability, but check this out. If you do that, because the Nash Top Up is going to cost X amount of points. If you need to make sure to win a game that needs to survive, you can just, if you have a Moralo's ability, you just go off the board and you just don't come back. He's just like, no, I'm good. Do you want to bring him back? No, I'm good. I need these points. And
is the National Pub even worth points though?
We don't know.
It's not in current play. It's the only ship that's worth 1. Nope, it's worth just 1. You can actually. So if you tabled a Nash Tap, or if you tabled a Houndstooth, you would actually get 201 points.
Huh.
I looked it up, but it's still not worth it. I thought, because I wanted it to be that you kept the whole points of the Houndstooth in that Z, but no, they're not going to let you do that.
That'd be too good.
No, of course not.
All right, the Skurg. Marcel, Skurg.
Going with the... It looks pretty much the same. 3 hards, 3 talon rolls, 4 hard straight. The ones without a turn are blue. 2... Yeah.
The movement's all the same.
No, actually, no. What they did... What wasn't there 2s green and there 1s white? Or did they keep it all the same?
I think it was the 2 were greens.
Yeah, so they swapped those. The 2 was green and the 1s were white, I believe.
On the banks, yeah.
Actually, I think the 4 forward used to be white as well.
So, yeah, and the 4 forward, they didn't have a 4 red. So they kind of adjusted the dial to make them go a little bit slower. Everything else looks relatively the same, except that their barrel roll is now a red barrel roll.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah, and they're not 5-5 now; they're 4-6.
6-4.
If you say 6-4, I say 5-4.
Anyway,
4-6.
So they had 6 hull and 4 shields. So again,
and I see that's something that they did across the board with almost every ship. It seems like they just reduced shields all around and increased the hull.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, they realized the value of shields. Like, hey, shields are better. If we want things to die, let's get. And you want the damage deck to be more of a factor. Go ahead and have more hull. Nate, go ahead and tackle the Fang Fighter. We got a lot of this revealed already. Let's jump to some of our new pilots here. I guess we saw the dial, so let's go ahead and look at that dial here.
The dial, I think, stays the same. They got the 4 turnaround, everything else the same in terms of greens and everything. Did they have 4 green before or no?
Nope.
No, they didn't. No,
so that's the same. Nothing different there.
Now they all have Concordia face-off, which is now, the Concord Dawn, whatever. But while you defend it, if the attack range is 1 and you're in the attacker's firing arc, that just doesn't mean you have to be facing them. As long as you're in their firing arc at range 1, you add a evade result. And remember, evades are different now. Evades aren't like an extra die like and everything. It'll just turn was it a blank or a focus or just anything?
Well, essentially one of your other dice to an evade result.
Exactly. It won't add an extra. It doesn't essentially add one anymore. They have 2 linked abilities so that you can barrel focus or you can boost focus. So you have to kind of make sure you're in the right spot. You should already have that target lock.
Yep. And the new pilot that was revealed today was Old Terok. You can go ahead and read that ability.
Oh, yeah. Old Terok's great. At the start of the engagement phase, you may choose one enemy ship at range 1. If you do and you're in its arc, it removes all of its green tokens.
Now, one thing that's important to note here compared to the old Terok, the super old Terok, is one technique that I used to use a lot with Old Terok is you just try to shove him in there and make sure that you get a block. You're like, hey, I'm going to block with him and use his ability. That doesn't work anymore because this ability specifies range 1, which is different than range 0. Range 0 is touching. So, meaning you have to put Old Terok in danger in order to use his ability. It does work on all green tokens, so they're specifying that, which now includes Reinforce. And anything in the future that would be green. Kind of future-proofed it. And it does have to be the front arc. No side mobile arcs. Has to be in the front.
I do have a question about that. So we were talking about the Jumpmaster only has a 90-degree mobile arc. Now, if it should work then that if the Jumpmaster say has the arc to its left, and Old T is still in its front arc, does it still work then?
I think so, because the symbol is marking that front triangle. Whether it's active or not doesn't matter.
All right, very cool.
Then
what else do we have?
That's it for that one.
Ketzel says after performing a red move, you gain 2 focus tokens.
Yeah, but none of this was from the conversion kit. That's all old stuff.
Fine.
Yeah, you just haven't read it yet. You can read that on your own time.
No, I read it like today actually. I was just trying to go over them.
Lies. Anyway, continue. The Cuirass Fighter. Looking at this one, go ahead, take it, William.
As far as this dial, it's got 2 Talon rolls, and I believe they have the same greens, which is 1 and 2 banks, but it also gets a barrel roll as well. So Talon rolls and barrel roll.
Yep, that was the new thing we found out there. The other Talonbane and Victor Hell had already been revealed ability-wise, but yeah, that's that small change to the dial there with those T rolls. Gans Findsman, the G1A, is a medium base. That's important to note. Is a medium base now, and it gains a couple of new tricks on his dial. First is tons of red. There was always a lot of red on it. They've added even more.
Wow, that thing's more red than anything else.
Yep. So you get a 0 stop maneuver, which is super powerful. And let's see, looking at I only flew one of these the first week it came out, and then I realized it was bad. So
it didn't have hard ones before.
That's what
it's
it is.
Essentially like a B-wing. It's like
and it didn't have a 2K either.
No.
So it gets more B-wing like moves, but it's on a medium base though. Medium.
Yeah, so it moves differently. The 2K is still going to have that problem of getting around large base ships, but it does also have a 4K. So you still have that. Action-wise, it gains the jam action. It is white. And now it actually gets one more hull, because now it is 5 hull and 4 shields.
That's going to be good.
Yeah, it's actually going to have a chance here, especially once all the points get revealed and stuff.
Yeah, actually, because before it just mimicked what other ships were, and now it actually kind of has its. It feels more of a U-wing than a B-wing role now.
Yeah, I'm in.
And now it also has the ability to like barrel if you put Mist Hunter on it, so that could be something.
Barrel medium base.
Yeah, that could be something.
Yeah, that's a lot of distance to cover, and it adds the cannon slot. You're not forced to take the tractor beam. It's any cannon. And the barrel roll that it does get is white if you put the Mist Hunter title on. And it's still unique, by the way. Pilot-wise, they showed us the Forlom pilot. Go ahead and read that, Marcel.
After you fully execute a red maneuver, gain 1 calculate token. At the start of the end phase, you may choose one ship at range 0 to 1. If you do, transfer one of your stress tokens to that ship. Okay. Yeah, I think basically just the top part. You get it's like the what is that?
Outlaw tech.
Yeah, that outlaw tech. It basically gives you that with, and since it's a robot, gives you that calculate. Yeah, I like it because it basically lets you, with all the reds in the dial, it basically gives you a second action, or it gives you the action with the red maneuver plus you get to unload that stress that turn. So it's I think it's a better version of it than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a better version.
Oh,
I think.
For sure.
It definitely is better.
And they went ahead and gave us the Zuckuss crew. I know we haven't got the upgrade cards yet, but since it's there, go ahead and cover that one.
While you perform an attack, if you are not stressed, you may choose one defense. You may choose one defense die and gain 1 stress token. If you do, the defender must re-roll that die. Same thing. It's just
Boo.
No, I'm saying it's the same thing. It's just kind of wordy, but
it only works on 1 die now instead of
it's limited to 1.
Yeah. Well, it always worked on because you could have done on 2 and then just took 2 stress. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
But yeah, it also pairs up really well with Forlom still. So.
Because you can pass that stress out.
Yeah. But you can't do the red maneuver, get to calculate, and use Zuckuss at the same time.
No, you can't, because at the start of end phase, you can still shrug off your stress onto somebody at range 1, and then use the Zuckuss during your attack.
No, end phase is at the end, after you.
It's after you already attacked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can either do the first part of his ability, which is what the old outlaw tech did, or use Zuckuss that turn. Those are your options.
But I mean, it still works out because if you're doing a white or blue maneuver, you take your calculate action normal, and then you still get the defensive. You still get to try to push some damage with Zuckuss and unload the stress. Mm-hmm. So it's depending on the point cost, it might be pretty strong anyway.
Yep. Then we get to the Kimogila or Kimogila or Kaimogila, however you want to pronounce it. I think it's Kimogila personally.
Like Gila monsters?
Sure. We have Initiative 3, and they have some fluff in the top half there, but the ship ability is, while you perform an attack, if the defender is in your bullseye firing arc, defense dice cannot be modified using green tokens. No focus, no evade, no reinforce. And this is essentially what the first edition rule for all bullseye was. They just specified it only for this ship. So that is one good thing to note, is that the bullseye firing arc is just now just a thing. It's just like everybody has one, and they can have different effects depending on what the cards are. Looking at the ship card here, it has focus, target lock, a red barrel roll now. So they've taken that barrel roll. Now it's red. And it has a white reload. They moved around some of the life on here. It's now 7 hull, 2 shields. And looking at that dial here, looks the same.
Wasn't the 2 a heart? No. Wasn't the 2 a red maneuver?
Yeah. No. They
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the red was the 2 was a hard move. I'm looking
again.
it up
I've flown so many Chemogilas. So
actually, I think they actually got an extra hull as well. I thought they were only 8 health before.
Yeah, they were 6-2. They were 6-2.
That's not bad.
Now, did they change the size on this, or is it still small?
This one,
I think this. I think it's medium as well.
I do not know.
Possibly.
Anybody out there in the world? Do you know? I'm not entirely sure. I don't have that in my notes. It wouldn't be on the card. It wouldn't be on the card. It would be in the app, I believe.
Okay.
That'd be an app thing. Tell Allie to stop coughing and feel better.
It says the medium bases are U-Wing, IG, Fire Spray, Mist Hunter, Reaper, Aggressors, Chemo, Gila, Arc, and Punisher.
There you go. Confirmed. Illuminati confirmed.
That's still pretty good, though. That's going to be... So white reload. Can't complain about that.
No, you can't, because a lot of the reload we've seen so far is red. Then they gave us some goodies on the Shadowcaster. I love the Shadowcaster. And I will tell you that I've always wanted to fly the generics of these, but they were never competitive. So I'm looking forward to possibly being able to fly some of these. They might be a little bit cheaper and more usable. As for the dial, it is pretty similar as before. Still has the 5K, still has the full suite of 3s. 4 straight is green, 2 straight is green. Sorry, blue. Gotta get used to that, saying blue. Just want to double check something here. And yeah, everything else is the same. No, nothing different there. Still has the 5K. And the thing that's different about this now is the way the mobile arc will function on this ship. So it has a primary 3 dice attack out the front. And its mobile arc is only ever 2 dice. It can never be 3. Unless it's pointed at the front and you're in the front.
Like even if
and then it's 5.
One?
No, it's not 5. It's just 3. Say that again, Nate?
No, but like, is it like at range 1? Is it 3 or no?
Well, yeah, at range 1, it's 3. It's just
okay. Well, you said it could never be 3. So,
well, on the card, it's not going to be 3.
Okay, we have to be specific. I mean, they're getting more specific with their words.
I do. Words matter. They changed around the health a little bit. They now made it 8 hull and 2 shields instead of 7 hull, 3 shields. Actions, they are the same. They're all white, and that's focus, evade, target lock, and rotate your arc. They spoiled the Asajj Ventress card. They gave it some new art, showing off the original Clone Wars design for the Shadowcaster. I do love her subtitle. It's Asajj Ventress, a force of her own. And it says, at the start of the engagement phase, you may choose one enemy ship in your mobile arc at range 0 to 2. Spend 1 force, because she does have 2 force natively on her card. Spend 1 of your force tokens. If you do, that ship gains 1 stress token unless it removes 1 green token. So you have some counterplay there with being able to spend your focus your focus, your evades, your calculates, or your reinforce in order to prevent that stress if you really don't want it. Do note that force tokens or force does regenerate once per turn. So in a single turn, what Asajj could do is, if need be, she can stress somebody and use the force to alter her attack or defense. She's still going to be super tanky with that force ability, and it's going to be interesting to see how people pull that off. Because note, you do have to be in that mobile arc still. So if you're trying to do that thing what people would do before with Asajj and just kind of do a big circle, it works, but you're only shooting 2 dice. So probably not going to be the strategy with her anymore. You might want to be trying to attack from that corner, that 45 there. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I didn't know about the force thing. The force thing, I thought like, oh, you only had 2 of them for the rest of the game. I'm like, well, that makes her worthless. But now the fact that you regenerate it every turn makes it more interesting, and the fact that it's like, oh, you could burn 2 force in 1 turn by like, one trying to stress somebody and trying to modify your dice. So it's like, oh, that makes it a little bit better, more fun.
Now you have to look at, there's a small little triangle by the number,
the arrow going,
and that means you get 1 once per round.
Oh, where is it? Like
it's right next to the 2 in the force ability on the card.
Oh, so are there other people that get more, or
Vader gets 3, Ezra gets 1, and Luke doesn't recharge at all. He only gets a force ability when he gets shot at.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah,
that's every time.
Yep. So that little triangle signifies whether or not it regens. So I wonder if they ever wanted to make a ship that regened more than 1 of these, would it have, because they do that for charges as well, whether they would just like stack 2 triangles on top of each other. Yeah, that'd probably be the way to do it, right? They have the space there. that'd be dangerous ground to go on, FFG. Don't do that. Like, keep it at 1.
I mean, they could, in theory, put that little triangle next to shield value, so you get a shield every round.
Please no.
Oh my god.
No, you know what? Put it next to your attack dice. You get an extra attack dice every turn. Just keep stacking it. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, William, you're excited about the Hawk. Let's go ahead and talk about some Hawk stuff.
I want to talk about
Oh, yeah. So the Hawk now is I believe we've been going through. It's the only ship who got more shields. It's at 3 hull, 2 shields. It only has a single 90-degree mobile arc that shoots 2 dice. So 2 big improvements already. They have 2 linked actions: focus to move arc and target lock to move arc. They also get a red boost, a white move arc action, and a red jam. They just made this thing so good.
They just pour the love on.
The dial yet?
No.
No, we have it. We have it.
We did see the dial. I didn't.
I'll pull it up while you talk about the pilots.
All right. Let's first talk about the most important thing here: the Moldy Crow. It gains a forward-facing primary weapon with an attack value of 3. So it's very similar to the Shadowcaster we discussed: 3 out the front, 2 out the side or rear. And during the end phase, do not remove up to 2 focus tokens. So no more unlimited focuses. You're only limited to 2 now. That's still very good. It's going to open them up to jamming, to boosting. It's going to be really good.
And 3 dice. Oh my god.
3 dice. Well, I mean, I still don't think that they have K turns or anything special.
Who cares?
Right?
Because they keep their 2 dice out of a mobile arc, and they've got focuses, and they've got jams, and they've got.
Oh yeah.
You make that picture bigger because I can't see the 2s or the 3s.
Yeah, sure.
That's all we got, or
oops. So whoopsie, sorry. That's you could only see.
Oh, I see it now.
See that much? Yeah, I tossed it in there. So the dial, it has a stop, which is huge to keep things in that arc. If you're gonna want to be able to leverage that, they made the 1 forward. That one's always been stress relieving. 1 forward's blue, 1 banks. 2 hards are white, 2 bank is white, 2 forward is blue. Then one of the changes here is the 3 bank is now white instead of red.
Finally.
And it gains the 4 straight, which is white.
Also gets a 3 hard turn, which they never had either. Which there have been times I've wanted that. So
3. Oh yeah, the red.
I've flown me some Hawks. Let me tell you, this makes them way easier to fly. Like a 4 straight forward that's not stressful. Holy crap!
Does it? I know they can adjust it with point costs, but it does feel like they over adjusted on some of these, because the Hawk went from okay, some of the abilities like Torquemux were okay, to just ungodly good, and then other ships just completely took the opposite direction.
Yeah, but Marcel, you got to realize that before you're paying for the turret as well, and now you don't. The cost of the turret's kind of, or should be included in the cost of the ship now.
Mm-hmm.
I like their link abilities, because you could focus, turn your arc. You can target lock, turn your arc. I like that. It's a great link ability.
And you can use that if the Hawk also has the turret upgrade slot, which we don't know. You would be able to use that rotate arc on that arc counts for your secondary weapon as well if you end up using it. And then we also got, basically gave us all the pilots for Scum, unless they added something in here. We got the Initiative 1 Spice Runner. We got the Initiative 3 Paylob, which essentially is the same ability. It's at the start of the engagement phase now. Range 0 to 2. It steals that focus. Initiative 2 is Torquemux, one of our Gold Squadron favorites there. Still does his thing, but now you have to have 1 ship in the firing arc.
It just says firing arc.
Right, so it's in the front, but it doesn't have a range.
That's going to be so good. Oh, welcome back, Torkoal. I missed you, baby. I missed you so much. I love Torkoal.
So that that literally could be across the board. Say you're 0 now.
Oh.
You keep him back out of the combat. You keep him back. You keep him super cheap and say you're 0. Everybody else kill that guy.
What? There's no range on that?
Yeah.
There's no
range on it.
Oh, no range?
That's gotta be a typo. That has to be.
No, that's great, dude. That's so good.
That's got to be a typo.
I love it. I'm going back to Scum again. Torkoal Mux. Torkoal Mux will be my list.
Just park him, and he's got to stop. Just park him in the corner. Put somebody in front of him.
And so if you have arcs going 2 different directions,
well, see, here's what you do. Yeah. You actually.
Well, he doesn't have a primary arc. He only has one.
Yeah.
It says your firing arc. I guess that would be your. It's not your mobile arc, so it's just your front arc.
It says firing. They don't have a front arc.
Well, if you have the multi-crow, do you get 2 ways then?
Well, so if you have the Moldy Crow, it's both ways. Your firing arc is arcs in which you can actually shoot in.
That makes sense.
So yeah, if you put them at a 45-degree angle, for kind of facing the board in the edge in the corner, you're covering almost the entire board. Like you are a 0. So that's gonna be fun. And then Initiative 4, we got Dace Bonearm. He has his still kind of ion ability, and it says after an enemy ship at range 0 to 3 receives at least 1 ion token, you may spend 3 charges. If you do, that ship, all of them, that ship gains 2 additional ion tokens. It does.
But he's able to regen though.
Right, but because you have to spend them all, it's going to take 3 turns in order to do that ability again.
Yeah, that's garbage.
So that's the
trade-off.
Yep.
But it doesn't stress you anymore.
Correct. No stress.
Meh.
And somebody asked here, does firing arc count only range 1 to 3 or no? 0 is self or touching. So because there is no range at all, this is simply if you are in the arc. This is range 0 to infinite on Torkoal Mux.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's like way too good.
Well, yeah. I'm sure he will get costed appropriately if he starts getting abused, which I'm looking to do. We'll find out.
Technically, not in your firing arc if they're outside range 3. If they're not in your firing arc.
Well, that's a good question.
That came up with the reinforces. There was a time where a large spaceship was at range inside of Lorik's firing arc at range 4, and it was still inside my firing arc.
So I think the question here is if they change the core rules to say, like, in your firing arc is only range 0 to 3, but all of these other effects, they have specified ranges, like in arc at this range to this range. There's even been a couple that has been 0 to 3. Why not just say that there? I think that this one is saying anything. So that's a wide open scope here. When it comes to Scum specific upgrades, rolling down our thing here, we got a gunner card for Bosk. He says, very similar to his current crew card. After you perform a primary attack that misses, if you are not stressed, you must receive 1 stress token to perform a bonus primary attack against the same target. So, if you miss, you get another shot, but you're taking a stress.
That's fine. So they made him into a gunner.
Yeah, gunner plus a stress.
But so he doesn't get like all the other shenanigans anymore.
No other shenanigans. No extra modifiers or anything.
Dang.
It's fine. It's okay.
I will say with that, because we talked about Dengar. Dengar gets a bonus attack. And they said that you only can get ever 1 bonus attack. So you can't put Bosk on Dengar and then just light something up 3 times.
Correct. 1 bonus attack per turn, no matter if you have all the stacking bonus attack abilities. Only one of them can ever happen. The other Scum specific one is the Dengar Gunner card there. Can you give that to me, Marcel?
After you defend, if the attacker is in your firing arc, you may spend one little lightning thingy.
Charge.
If you do, roll one attack die unless the attack... Oh my god, they word these whole things. Roll one attack die unless the attacker chooses to remove one green token. On a hit or a crit result, the attacker suffers 1 damage. What in the... What?
This
is a one-time use only because it's a charge.
Nope. It has an arrow going up, so it recharges every turn.
Oh, so that's how it works. If it's got an arrow, it recharges. If not.
This sounds very much like the old Painbot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somewhere between Painbot and Hotshot Copilot, which is pretty good actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of good, but it also gives the person attacking a choice.
Yep. Still really good though.
Dion, this is gonna be funny because you'll get this because you're a teacher like me. You know what this reminds me of? The way they word this is kind of like Common Core, where they kind of like overly complicate some things. You're like they're trying to make it easier, but at the same time you're like, it's very wordy.
You're asking me to make a political statement on my not political podcast. I will not do this.
You're right.
Alrighty. So, and then we also got Fearlessness, which was talked about before. I think all the other ones there are no other Scum specific stuff. I'm just taking a quick. Ketsu Onyo, all the way down. Actual crew cards here. All still has to do stuff with tractor beams. At the start of the end phase, you may choose one enemy ship at range 0 to 2 in your firing arc. If you do, that ship does not remove its tractor token. So this gives you that opportunity to start stacking them up if you only have one ship doing tractor abilities. We also got Jabba the Hutt doing his thing. During the end phase, you may choose one friendly ship at range 0 to 2 and spend 1 charge. If you do, that ship recovers 1 charge on it, and it's equipped on one of its equipped illicit upgrades. So essentially allowing somebody to reuse their illicits, and Jabba can recharge 4 times. Notice that Jabba doesn't have the little arrow, so no recharging for Jabba. It's just 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Maul crew there. Nate, you want to go ahead and talk about Maul?
Yeah, we changed it totally. After you suffer damage, you may gain 1 stress token to recover 1 force token. You can equip dark side upgrades, which is interesting. What are dark side upgrades? We don't know yet.
We know that they're ships that have force abilities will gain the ability to equip force upgrades. We haven't seen any. I guess we've seen one, which is called Sense, which was in a squad, but we haven't gotten a big breakdown of them. But this card does something else. It gives that ship 1 force a turn.
Yeah, it lets them regen force.
Yeah, so it gives it 1 a turn, so you're able to do that ability. And then lastly here, Scum specific, we have R5TK again, and he does the same exact thing he did before. You can perform attacks against friendly ships. So that's been the Scum breakdown. So how are you feeling about Scum, Marcel, after going through all that stuff?
I like it, especially I think the part that has me the most excited, it's got to be the Houndtooth backed up with the Slaver, or that ship, the YV666 backed up with some Z95s. It just sounds good, especially Moral Avalo, and then probably another generic and a couple cheap Z95s coming in and out. It just sounds fun.
Awesome sauce. All right. So what do you want to do next, gentlemen? Empire or Scum? I mean Empire or Rebels, because Rebels are Scum.
Rebel Scum.
We'll go with the good guys, the Empire. Yeah.
Dang, you got me.
I really don't care. I play whatever I want. So looking at some of the breakdowns here, we're switching over to the Empire. Oh, long live the Emperor. Spoiler, she dies in the movies. So going for stuff that was just shown on the on the conversion kit stream, we got to see the Storm Squadron Ace. We've already seen some of the TIE Advance stuff, but we got to see that it also has the targeting computer built into it. Nothing special there. It is an Initiative 3. We got shown a bunch of TIE fighters. Oops, that's a Rebel TIE fighter. Shouldn't be in there. Well, we've seen the TIE fighter before in other places, so we're just going to kind of scoop past that. Let's talk about one of my favorite things. Go ahead, put it in the chat. The gunboat. Love me some gunboats. So I'll just take this one. The dial is the same. Nothing different about the dial. Still terrible when it comes to clearing stress. All of the actions are the same. Still has focus, target lock, slam, and the reload, which is white. Has a forward to arc. This, like, the chassis is exactly the same. What they've tweaked just a little bit are both of the title cards. So the title cards are now configuration cards. They're not titles. And it says here, so you have the XG1, which was the canon version. It says, while you have exactly one disarm token, so they're specifying only one, which means no shenanigans with multiple disarm tokens, you can still perform cannon attacks. While you perform a cannon attack, while disarmed, roll a maximum of 3 attack dice and add the cannon slot. So this means that if you, let's say, equipped something like a heavy laser cannon, you could still fire, but you only get 3 dice. So it opened it up. You can use any cannon you want with its effects and things. Only 3 dice there. Then the OS1, which is the missile title, says, while you have exactly 1 disarm token. So this is preventing that shenanigans that Major Vinder was doing with like pushing, reloading, and slamming on the same turn. That is not a thing anymore.
It was doing. Oh, that was.
Yeah,
brutal.
what Elliot was doing exactly. You can still perform torpedo and missile attacks against targets you have locked. If you do, you cannot spend your target lock during the attack. So you can shoot, but you're going to be less accurate because you're not able to spend your lock as a modifier. Then they showed the Initiative 2 new squadron. Lieutenant Karasabi is Initiative 3. Very similar ability to what he has before. When he has a disarm token, you get a stress in order to remove it. So you can possibly use one of those other titles where you're no longer limited. You can actually shoot your fully powered cannon or missiles. And then I want to talk about the TIE Defender. I want to spend a little bit of time on it because I think this is the ship right out the gate for the Empire. Of course, points withholding that a lot of people are going to be drawn to because it still has the white 4K and the action bar. I mean, they just soup this thing up to the 9s here. William, you want to go ahead and break that down for me?
I think Wolf just says laptop froze, so.
Uh-oh.
I'll read it for you since you keep ignoring me.
I'm not ignoring you. You're talking a lot, so I'm getting other people a chance to talk.
All right, so what are we reading? We're reading which one?
Defender.
The Defender. I have to go back up to it. The Onyx Squadron or the Countess Riot?
The Onyx Squadron. Just break down the action bar and stuff.
Oh, so now it gets like focus, evade, target lock, barrel, and Defenders now have a boost, which makes them brutal. They have 1 extra shield, so instead of it being 3-3-3-3, it's 3-3-3-4 shields. Holy crap, that's gonna make them brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
very good.
God, their dial is about the same. Yeah, it looks exactly the same.
Nope, they have some new stuff on there. Go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah, they got the
2K
K turn as well. So they've got the 2K.
Okay.
And they've also got 1 banks that are blue.
Banks.
Not blue.
Oh,
they can only clear stress
going
straight. And they lost the 1 straight that they had.
They never had a 1 straight.
They never had the 1 straight.
No, okay, then they
had 1 straight.
All right, but still, that being able to clear stress on a bank is nice. And on top of that, so they've got the evade action, and they've got a built-in X7 still.
Mm-hmm.
So
Full throttle.
Full throttle. It's got an actual you've got to fully complete the maneuver, which is fine. That's basically the way it was now. So yeah, this has got to be, and the generic is initiative 4. So yeah, this is gonna be very expensive.
They clearly said
it has to be expensive.
Yeah, they clearly said on the stream, like, this is like the top of the top starfighter for the Empire, but you're gonna pay for it. But even now, the question is, where are they going to put that points cost, and is it going to be worth it to, quote unquote, buy this chassis?
Ruin them again, because that was the original problem with the Defenders when they first brought them into X-Wing, is that they were too expensive, and you could load up a lot of stuff on them, but they ultimately weren't all that great.
Well, we'll find out, because the thing with the points is, with everything being, brand new, we don't know where, everything being adjusted, we don't know where anything falls. Countess Ryad says, while you execute a straight maneuver, you may increase the difficulty of the maneuver. If you do, execute a K-turn instead. So now her K-turns are no longer stress relieving, is what this changes. It means that all of her K-turns are now white. So that's all that means.
No, the 2 remains. They can.
Yeah, you increase the difficulty, so it goes from blue to white.
From blue to white, and then.
So no more.
Which basically lets you still take, a 4 or 5K, 3, 4 or 5K turn, and still be able to get the evade, and essentially take a regular action and not end up stressed.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. So it's still very good. But if there's any future cards that force you to do with stress, Countess Ryad is not going to be that ship when it comes to Defenders that you just go and say, oh, let's just go ahead and, do K-turn greens. It's fine. I don't have to worry about stress. You actually have to worry about stress with this ship now. And then they showed the Lambda class dial. Essentially, we saw in the preview video that it's going to have the front and back arc active. But we saw the cards now. The front arc is 3 dice. Back arc is 2 dice only. Dial is exactly the same. Nothing's changed there. It has the coordinate action, which is white. That's a big deal. And it has a red jam action. Then we get to the TIE Advanced prototype, or what we used to call the prototype. It is now called the TIE Advanced V1, the version 1. And the most interesting thing that I see here with this ship is, if you look at, there's 2 Initiative 3s. You got the Baron of the Empire, and you have Inquisitor, a generic Inquisitor, which if you're caught up with Star Wars Rebels, there are many Inquisitors. There's like the 7th sister and the 4th brother.
Like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean there's I think in canon that we know up to 10 of them, 9 or 10. But we have a generic Force user. If you look at the cards, it gets 1 Force on it, which is cool. You're gonna probably pay for it. You're not probably. You're definitely gonna pay for that Force. But dial-wise, it's still really good knife fighter, and it gains the 2 Talon roll to its arsenal on the dial. Did it always have the 3 hard turn white? It did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I think it already had a white.
All right. So everything else is normal there. 2 attack dice out the front only. The Inquisitor is the only one that was able to. The Grand Inquisitor was the only one who was able to roll 3 dice, but they've changed up his ability a little bit. Nate, going to go ahead and read that for me?
Yeah, of course. So the Grand Inquisitor, I just got to scroll back up because I was looking down at stuff. The Grand Inquisitor now, Master of the Inquisitors, or was Inquisitorius? Something like that. While you defend at range 1, you may spend 1 Force token to prevent the range 1 bonus. So basically, you're protecting yourself from that, right? Conversely, when you perform an attack against a defender at attack range 2 to 3, you may spend 1 token to apply the range 1 bonus. So it basically kind of lets you do the whole shenanigans he was doing before, but also adds an extra bonus. But you also have to spend Force to do it.
Right, exactly. They require you to actually manage your resources. So if you equip any Force upgrades that require you to spend Force, you're going to have to make some decisions.
Hey, Dion. I am out of time.
All right, just jump off. Have a good night, man.
All right, see you later.
No problem.
Have fun.
No problem. So then we get to the TIE aggressor. We're gonna start speeding up now that Nate's gone.
I can still hear you.
That's I see you there. It's fine.
You'd be lost without me.
Never. Probably. You're right. The TIE aggressor. Marcel, go ahead and break that one down for me.
It's got a focus, target lock. It's got the ability to push from barrel roll to evade, white barrel roll, red evade, and the stats on it are the same: 2/2, 4/1, 4 hull, 1 shield. The dial looks the same. I don't think it has anything else. And one thing I don't know is where do they put like upgrades that are available for it? Is that only on the app?
It's only on the app. Cards? Nope, not on the cards, so that they can change them if they need to.
So whether it has a turret or not is
we do know that at least starting out, it's going to have a turret because they mentioned it on the stream.
Okay, got it.
So I forgot to add that one on our notes. They showed the TIE Striker. It has adaptive ailerons as its ship ability. You must do it unless you're Duchess. Looking at its dial, they pretty much kept it the same. Did it have 1 hearts before?
Yes.
All right, so nothing too special there. But it is going to gain a bomb slot. That is the one thing that we did learn in the stream, because in canon it has a bomb slot, so that's gonna be cool.
Okay, a digital bomb slot,
right? A digital
that can be taken away,
right, at any time. Which with adaptive ailerons, that sounds really powerful. So we'll see. Yeah. But now, mind you, all bombs are dropped during the system phase now, so
that's before
before the ailerons.
Again, yeah.
So that's a big deal. Let's talk about the TIE Punisher. This thing, they're like, all right, let's make this beast work. It's going to be on a medium base. Could you go ahead and break that down?
All right. It's got 2 primary attack, 1 agility, 6 hull, 3 shield, which I think is the same. The difference really comes that it gave it a barrel roll, red. It kept the white boost that it had before, but now it gave it the ability to push for a target lock, and it gave it also the reload action. But more than that, I think the dial, they gave it a hard stop.
Yep.
And that's really the big difference, is they just gave it the hard stop, which is big. And so between the reload and the pseudo push the limit and the hard stop,
and also the 2 turns are white now. They used to be red.
Oh, did they? I didn't know.
Yeah, that's a big deal. This thing can turn. It can turn without having to like 1 bank and then boost. The fact that it can actually get things on target. And one interesting thing, if you look at his ability, it says after you drop or launch a device, you may perform an action. That's really similar to his ability before, but it's telling us that launching bombs is still in the game. It might work a little bit differently, but that mechanic, this is the first time we've seen it revealed in any type of 2.0 material. So launch is still in the game. We'll find out how it works later, but yeah. They also showed us the dial for the decimator and some of the changes they did there. Focus, target lock, reinforce. That's a new one on the decimator. It also has the turret changing and a red coordinate. So this is going to be interesting to see how people use it. The red coordinate is one of those where it feels more like a desperation action. You're like, I have to do this thing, because in the middle of combat, you're going to want to be using your actions to defend or make sure that you're hitting harder. Dial wise, it gains 1 red hearts. That they had no 1 heart on it. They're red, but I mean, if you got to do the action, you got to do the action. And with its attack, it is a 180 arc, so front, back, or left, right, 3 dice. Still 0 agility. Hull and shields are the same.
But it's going to stay alive a lot longer with that. Reinforce. Yeah. And then with Chernuch, which I assume Chernuch's probably going to have the same ability. Right.
Yes, something we're not entirely sure. You just kind of gotta peek at it.
It looks something about a critical. So if you can get that soft critical plus your reinforce, that's strong.
Yep. Scrolling down to the TIE Phantom. They talked about the TIE Phantom. Go ahead and take that one.
All right. 3 attack, so no more 4 attack on the Phantom. 2 agility. They gave it an extra hull, 3, and 2 shields. They did add an evade action, which I don't believe it had before. And
yes, it did.
It did have an evade action.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, those are the same thing. But what they did do is they're adding the never use Stygium Accelerator or Stygium Array, which is after you decloak, you may perform a free evade action. At the start of the end phase, you may spend an evade token to gain a cloak token. So they sort of combined the Stygium and then the other
advanced cloaking device.
The advanced cloaking device into one, and making you basically have to make a choice. Do I spend an evade, which you probably always spend the evade, but then by doing so you give up the recloak ability.
Yep. So I think that the idea here is so you cannot like decloak, get the evade action, and do an evade action, because that rule still applies where you can't do the same action twice as they are actions. But I think the idea here is that you focus and you're hoping to arc dodge with your decloak, and then you hold on to that evade so that you can be dodgy again. So that there's going to be, again, there's that flying aspect where you're going to have to make sure that you're making the right decision in order to outfly your opponent. Echo gets the same ability as she had before. That was revealed. We had Whisper's ability from before, so we're gonna leave that one alone. TIE Interceptors, they gave us the full dial for the TIE Interceptor, and they spoiled Sunterfell. So we'll go ahead and talk about this one. Same actions as before. Still has 3 attack dice out the front, 3 agility, 3 hull. It gains the 3 sloops on its dial, and everything else that you knew from before is the same. As for Sunterfell, here's his ability. At the start of the engagement phase, so this is combat phase, right? If there is an enemy ship in your bullseye firing arc, that's important to note. Bullseye, you gain 1 focus token. The ship ability is auto thrusters. They call it auto thrusters, but it's essentially push the limit. But anyway, I'll read it to you. After you perform an action, you may perform a red barrel roll or boost. So this is one of the few ships that can actually do both repositions in the same turn. That's something that we haven't seen so far. With Suntir's ability, I've seen a little bit of like, oh man, where's my token stack? But the whole thing with second edition is that they're lowering the power level, and you have to fly well in order to get the bullseye off and be able to get his ability.
Yeah, and you can still token stack. You can still take your evade action and then push for a reposition, and then end up with the bullseye and get your focus on top of that. So you can still end up with a focus, evade, plus a reposition all in one turn, and then have the dial to be able to not worry about it so much coming up, and being the highest possible pilot skill in the game at the moment. There's Sunterfell is Sunterfell again.
Yeah,
that's basically it. There's no pilot skill 7s, permanent pilot skill 7s rolling around. So as long as you've got that bid, Sunterfell's gonna be a tough cookie to get past.
Yep, you're gonna have to fly this guy like crazy. But if you're really understand how to arc dodge, this is gonna be a really powerful weapon. It is important to note that they did say on the stream that it does have the on its upgrade bar, it's going to start with 2 modification slots, just like the Royal Guard title does now. So 2 modifications are native to the TIE Interceptor.
Nice. Yeah, so it should be. I expect to see probably a lot of Winterfell early on because a lot of nostalgia. People are just gonna gravitate to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So it's gonna be, yeah, it's fun, good stuff. The TIE Bomber, one of our boy Elliot was super pumped about the TIE Bomber changes here. Um, Marcel, you flew a bunch of bomber. What do you see here?
So let me see. The dial doesn't look a whole lot different. It looks almost identical. The
Well, I think it gained a 3K, right? It didn't have that before.
It had a 5K before. Yeah, it didn't have a 3K.
It didn't have
the
3.
But it did have the 5K. So that usually sets you up to end up out of the board or on a rock. So it gives you that out. The 226 essentially the same. The focus target lock is the same.
Oh, I found the other difference. I found the other difference on the dial. The 2 hards are white now instead of red.
Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit better. Now the big difference is that the ability to get that push the limit effect with the barrel roll target lock, and of course the reload. It's red, but it's still really critical. And now all of them come equipped with what's called a nimble bomber. If you would drop a device using the 1 template, you may instead use a bank template of the same speed instead, which is interesting. Which also lets you know, like if you're equipped with like Bombardier or something like that, and using the 2, you can use the 2 banks to put a bomb somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's better. It's not. Oh my God, this is going to dominate the world, but it's definitely a step up.
Yep, and one of our listeners says, "Hey, hopefully the bomber can actually bomb." Thematic, right? Looking at some, we got into the upgrade cards here. Looking for some faction specific ones for the Empire. We're getting a tweaked version of Ruthlessness. It says, while you perform an attack, you may choose another friendly ship at range 0 to 1 of the defender. If you do that, that ship suffers 1 damage, and you may change one of the die results to a hit result. So this card has actually gotten significantly more powerful. Yeah, it's pretty. You have to make sure that you damage one of your own ships, but then you get an extra hit on top of the damage you were about to deal to the defender. So that's awesome. And then
which one is
that was
what are you reading?
The Ruthlessness crew card in under EPTs.
Okay, Ruthlessness. How far down did you go?
Pretty far, because there's a bunch of just generic ones.
Okay, marksmanship. Okay, elusiveness. No. Squad. Oh God. You went all the way down there. Ruthless. Yep. Okay, gotcha. Oh. All right. So you're only doing the Imperial only ones.
So right. we can roll down to Minister Tua. Go ahead and take that one.
At the start of the engagement phase combat, if you are damaged, you may perform a red coordinate. So it basically gives you coordinate.
No, not coordinate. Reinforced.
What is it?
Reinforced.
Oh, but good. I like it. So now you put that on a bomber, but then depends on what the bomber loses by if it still has that card that gives you crew, might make it nice.
Yeah, or this is very similar to the Isain Isard pilot card that a lot of decimators were running, and somebody is noting on Ruthlessness, kind of going back to it real quick. This says, while you perform an attack, you may choose another friendly ship at range 0 to 1. That means that you can actually take a damage yourself in order to trigger the Ruthlessness, because range 0 is also you.
Oh.
So that's important to know. Wait, does it say another friendly ship, though? Did I just say that? It says another friendly ship, so no, can't be you. So it's important to note. Darth Vader crew, you add 1 force token to your pilot there, and it says at the start in the engagement phase, they changed this one, by the way. You may choose 1 ship in your firing arc at range 0 to 2, and spend 1 force. If you do, that ship suffers 1 damage unless it chooses to remove a green token. So you're spending a force to either remove some of their tokens or deal a damage. They have to make that choice there. We'll see how much play he gets. He's definitely not as powerful as he was, with the dealing of crits, but still good. Go ahead and take Admiral Sloan.
Sloan. After another friendly ship at range 0 to 3, and they're putting the ranges in, so you're probably right on that Torkel thing.
Mm-hmm.
If another friendly ship at a range 0 to 3, if it is destroyed, the attacker gains 2 stress tokens. Okay, so if basically you're keeping your fleet in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
While a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 performs an attack against a stressed ship, it may re-roll 1 attack die. It's really good. It's a good support.
Yeah,
it's
swarm
probably going to
support,
be
right?
Yeah, it's probably going to be good on one of the shuttles.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how they point it. I mean, they cost it, but it does go with, like you said, with the swarm. Helps out. It if there's a way to cause stress in any way,
Mm-hmm.
then makes this a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, a ship at range 0 to 3 does not have an arc restriction on that one, so you're just giving rerolls away, which we know that rerolls are awesome. And then the next one, which Sienna Rhee, I love her book, the book that she's in, Lost Stars. My heart. Anyway, it's Imperial only that has coordinate. Can equip this, and it's a crew card, so obviously it has to have a crew slot. It says, after you perform a coordinate action, if the ship you coordinated performed a barrel roll or a boost, it may gain 1 stress to rotate 90 degrees. So this, when I saw this, I immediately thought, well, it has to be, it's Empire only. So I immediately thought of Sunterfell or an interceptor that's trying to use the bullseye arc. I immediately thought of that. Because if you can get him just like to the side of a ship and be safe, but his bullseye isn't on, you use this ability and you turn him.
Yeah, no, the problem there is that this is when you perform a coordinate action.
Right.
So you want to do it against a ship that is not that's already moved.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunterfell at 6, it's not going to help Sunterfell a whole lot.
Well, I mean,
it'll help not a whole lot. Maybe it'll help you with a little reposition or something, just to give you 1 extra action. But I think this will help some of the low pilot skill generics. If you can put this on, if there's a ship that can carry this at pilot skill 4 or 5, pilot skill initiative 4 or 5, it'll give you it'll make some of the initiative 2 generics a little bit more arc dodgy and kind of serve that Fen Rao on the ghost role.
Yep. I mean, I was thinking if there is something available to coordinate at the high PS, I guess was my thought. But yeah, you're right. It probably does do some more stuff with the lower initiative ships. We'll keep going here. They already talked about Director Krennic, so we'll move on. They showed us the Grand Inquisitor crew card. Go ahead and take that one.
All right. After an enemy ship at range 0 to 2 reveals its style, you may spend a rechargeable force token to perform 1 white action on your action bar, treating that action as red. So basically,
it gives push the limit.
It kind of gives push the limit, and it's got a condition on it. It just lets you take a red action after somebody in front of you moves. Now, another place where this might be helpful is, again, depending on the pilot skill. If you're a high pilot skill ship or a high initiative ship that has this on, you can take your red action and then clear it with your maneuver after you move after that initiative. So if there's a way to put it on a high initiative ship, it's a free action without the trouble of the stress.
Or if you're low pilot skill and you've moved and you're not stressed and you see a higher initiative ship reveals their dial, this triggers. If you have a reposition, you might be able to get a block. I like that.
Yeah, that's.
People want a link to what we're looking at. I can drop it in. Here we go. We'll put it in the chats here. Oops. Oh, wait a second. I can't because I'm on a different computer. Hold on. I'm using two computers to do this. I'll get that in the chat here in a minute, guys. But yeah, so that's. Give me a moment. Let me just go ahead and do this. I'm trying to talk and type at the same time. It does not work. There you go. So I put that in the chat there. You can click on it, and we are currently at near the bottom of the click Empire link, and yeah, we're in there. Now Palpatine. Let's talk about the Palps. So they've kind of taken him and done a little bit of the old Palpatine with a little bit of the new Palpatine. So you still need 2 crew slots. It's still Imperial only. Your ship gains 1 force a turn, up to 1, while another friendly ship defends or performs an attack. So now it's still when you roll dice, but it's only defending or attacking. This is no longer for asteroids or crit cards, which actually I don't think any of the crit cards have a rolling mechanic anymore anyway. But anyway, you may spend 1 force to modify one of its dice as though that ship had spent 1 force. So you still get to make this decision after you see the dice. The difference is now that it only affects focuses, because force can only change focus results on dice, not blanks. So a little bit of give and take there. It's still really powerful because you do get to see the results afterwards, but this allows ships to maybe make some different choices with their actions, such as if you have a Soontir Fel on the board, he might not need a focus action as much because you are using Palpatine to convert one of those. So you might be able to do something like a boost or barrel roll plus an evade token. So being able to stack up some of those, not as much. I mean, it's not as good as it was before, but you do get some modification there. And I think that takes us to the end of the Empire only now. So, man, after going through the Empire, I mean, it looks like they've really taken some time and really worked on the theme of it. And it seems a lot about swarms and keeping order. You know what I mean? So, we still got 1 more to go. We got the Rebels. Are you going to be able to stay up with me, Marcel?
11 o'clock, probably not. Are you still going to go through it?
I'm going to make it happen. I got to do it for the listeners. So
yeah, I'm going to have, at 11 o'clock.
You got to duck out. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I will put the team on my back. I got this.
All right, man. Sorry, brother.
No, dude, don't worry. No worries.
Yeah. I know you got to start these an hour early. We're gonna go this long.
I didn't. Well, we took almost an hour on Scum only.
Oh, yeah. Well, Scum deserve it.
All right.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
Enjoy.
All right. So here I go. Riding solo. Let's finish this out. So we got the Rebels. I'm going to speed this up here. We already know a bunch of stuff about the X-Wing, so we're not going to focus on that. That's all stuff that we've seen before with there. I will say I love the Thane Kyrell is also from the Lost Stars book. Read that book. It's so good. I love the theme. Yeah, chat will be my co-host. You guys are my co-hosts. Thank you for helping me out today. It's forced me to read all the things. I want to talk about the K-Wing. they revealed the K-Wing. It is going to be on a medium base, and it has a mobile turret, 180 turret, 2 dice only, 1 agility, 6 hull, 3 shields. Actions are focus, target lock, slam, rotate, and reload. They're all white. The pilot, of course, that we have to talk about is Miranda. Miranda's ability has been tweaked quite a bit. They've lowered the power level on it significantly. I really wish that Hagewood was here, and so that I could kind of pick his brain on Miranda. But here's the new ability. It says, while you perform a primary attack, so they've adjusted that, has to be primary, you may either spend 1 shield to roll 1 additional attack die, or if you are not shielded, so you have 0 shields, you may roll 1 fewer attack die to recover 1 shield. So a couple of things with this ability. Notice now that Miranda only has 3 shields. It used to be 5 hull, 3 shields. Now it's 6, 3. She has to have no shields in order to ever regen. So that resource management for Miranda players is going to be really important. It's going to be significantly easier to dig damage into this Miranda, because in order for her to ever regen, she has to be at none. So, you can rip off 3 shields, and the max that she can get back is 1 on that turn. And if you can do 3 damage again next turn, you're getting 2 of that really important hole there. Dial hasn't changed at all. Still the same there, but I'm curious to see what people do there. Slots wise, they did talk about that on the stream. We know that she's going to get a turret slot, 2 bomb slots, because they talked about her being able to equip bomblet generator, and at least 1 crew. We don't know anything else there. Then we go to the E-Wing. The E-Wing has gotten a makeover, and one thing that they emphasize here is that the E-Wing is the rebel version of the Defender. It's supposed to be like the best ship, top of the line. It's going to be expensive, but it's going to be worth it. That's kind of the idea here. We know it's at least going to have a system and a droid slot. Stats wise, it gets an extra hull. So now we're at 3 dice out the front arc, 3 defense dice, 3 hull, 3 shields. Actions are focus, evade, target lock, and barrel roll linked to target lock, or boost linked to target lock. So being able to get that repositioning and engage the lock. And I'm sorry, I keep saying target lock. It is just lock now, because you're able to lock anything in the game. Literally anything. You can lock. Just lock away. Initiative 4 for the Rogue Squadron Escort. That's a generic. And then Corran Horn is at initiative 5. And then that's the pilot. Everybody wants to know, like, what is his thing. So it says here, at initiative 0, so after essentially everybody is shot, you may perform a bonus primary attack against an enemy inside your bullseye firing arc. So this means you're gonna have to make sure that you're getting that lined up. You can no longer no corners anymore. But it's still very powerful ability. It says, if you do, at the start of the next planning phase, game 1 disarm token. So same ability as what Corran Horn had before, except now they defined some different timing windows, and it has to be in the bullseye. Now let's talk about the ship ability, because all the E-Wings are going to have this, and this is really good. You can acquire locks beyond range 3. You cannot acquire locks at range 1. So this means that Corran or any of these E-Wings will be able to determine, right off the bat, what are we gonna go take out. So this is essentially long range scanners, but better, because you can actually lock inside range 2, and be able to engage in battle with locks and being able to do some damage. Now, it's interesting knowing that they have the linked action to a target lock. We'll see how often you actually use it, because you're going to be going into battle with target lock, and you're going to probably try to hold on to that lock and use it as much as possible. And you're not going to really be wanting to push and take stress to switch your target lock unless you have to. So we'll see. When it comes to the dial, The dial gets a little bit of a makeover. We have the 3 sloops, which is added there. And other than that, it looks pretty much the same. I will confirm that with a squad builder here. It also gains the 1 hard. That is new. Oh, interesting. It gets the 1 hard. They're red, but it's still really, really good. And did it lose a K turn? 4K, yes. It lost the 3K turn. So it replaced the 3K turn with the 3 sloops. So again, we'll just kind of quickly go through that dial. On the ones, it has red 1 hards, blue 1 banks and straights. For the 2s, we have white 2 hards and 2 banks, blue 2 straight. On the 3s, we have 3 sloops, 3 white hards and banks, 3 straights are still blue, 4 straight blue, and 5 straight white. I only fly my E-wings hard. So that looks a little bit of a makeover on that dial. I like it. I like it. They gave us, we had a lot of the Y-wing revealed already, but they did get to show us the dial. Not too much different there. They did give us the 1 banks to be blue in order to relieve the stress there, so a little bit easier to fly. They showed the U-wing dial, which hasn't changed too much, but the config cards, they talked about those a little bit already, but those are significantly better. They essentially do the same thing they did before, except now you make that decision before you reveal your dial, so you're not what's the word that people have used? You're not telegraphing your moves before you set dials, which was what you had to do in first edition. I know a lot of people are excited for the YT 2400. They've tweaked this ship quite a bit. They know that it's popular, but let's go ahead and go through its stat line because they did talk about it and talk about the dial. So action-wise, we have focus, we have target lock, we have a red barrel roll. Barrel roll's red now, and a white rotate arc. Okay. Stat line, essentially the same. Used to be 5.5. It's 6 hull, 4 shields now. So a little bit more hull, again, trying to make the damage deck matter more. But the thing I want to talk about here is its stats here. So now it has 4 dice primary, but not in the front. It's a 180 arc. So we're going to have at least 2 sides of the of this ship is going to be a safe zone here. And its ship ability is while you perform, it's called the sensor blind spot, while you perform a primary attack at attack range 0 to 1, do not apply the 0 to 1 bonus and roll 1 fewer attack dice. So what's end up happening here is that the range 1 is still a donut. It's still a donut, but you lose a dice. You end up going down to 3. So dash players are still going to have to manage that range. You don't get 5 dice at range 1 or anything. You have only 3 dice at range 1. And you have 2 arcs in which you can't shoot anybody. So dash is no longer, in my opinion, easy mode. Dash's ability is the same as what he had before. In fact, they've simplified it much more. While you move, you ignore obstacles. No more calling it before you do it. All that stuff. Now, they just use the word move. I'm going to assume that means any type of movement. They didn't specify executing and maneuvers. They just said move. So that's all the things. Dial wise, looks the same as before. Nothing different there. Dash easy mode, yeah, it was in its heyday. Dash was most def easy mode. Look at my 4 dice. Come chase me. My opinion. Respect to your dash players. So with the YT 1300, so this is the Falcon, they showed us the dial. Here they remove the 1 hards off the dial. It now has natural 3 red sloops, and they showed us the Han Solo ability here. It says after you roll dice, if you are at range 0 to 1 of an obstacle, you may re-roll all of your dice. This does not count as re-rolling for the purpose of other effects. So kind of similar to what he had in first edition, except now it's both attacking and defending, because it says after you roll dice. And it's also any other effect that requires you to roll dice. If you hit an asteroid, you can actually use this ability, assuming that asteroids still work the same way. The Falcon has a red boost, focus, target lock, and the turret action. It's stat bar, 3 attack in 180 arc, and 1 agility, 8 hull, 5 shields. That has not changed on the Falcon at all. The Outer Rim Smuggler, they did show that card, and the stats are not different. They said, hey guys, this one's fair. It's fine. Kept it normal. And they did show us the Millennium Falcon title card here. They've changed it a little bit here. You gain the evade action, and while you defend, if you are evading, this is the state in having an evade token, you may re-roll 1 defense dice. So with Han, you can kind of stack these abilities a little bit. If you're within range 0 to 1 of an obstacle, and you let's say you did an evade action. So I've done an evade action. You attack me. I roll my dice. No, that was bad. So I'm going to use Han Solo's ability. I still got another blank. Well, it doesn't count as re-rolling, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Falcon title now to re-roll since I have an evade action. Well, no, that one came out bad too. I'll just spend the evade and turn that one. So you get 3 chances. 3 chances to end up rolling that evade on that dice. So go ahead and do that math. That starts adding up quite a bit there in order to get an opportunity to get that evade there. But I like the it's kind of like you're taking a risk here. You're rolling. Never tell me the odds is really the feel that it gives there. I like it. Might be a little strong. We'll see what the points cost is. They showed off some of the A-Wings. The Initiative 1 is now called the Phoenix Squadron Pilot. I love that. Gotta love the fluff there. The looking at the chat, they were talking about 2 different things there. We get the 3 sloops out of the A-Wings. Still super fast dial. Nothing else has changed there other than it gains the 3 sloops and still has the 5K on there. A-Wings come with a ship ability called Vectored Thrusters. After you perform an action, you may perform a red boost action. This matters because now on the action bar for the A-Wing, it gains the barrel roll. So it can barrel roll boost, but what it can't do is boost then barrel roll. So that's important to note. We did get to see the Arvel, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Arvel Kranid, the Arvel card, green leader. He says, his ability says, you can perform primary attacks at range 0. So his fluff is that's the A-Wing that crashed into the Star Destroyer. So you can attack while you're touching another ship. And if you fail a boost action by overlapping another ship, so that means like let's say you're just too close to actually perform a boost, he lets you break the rules here. He says by overlapping another ship after doing the boost, you can resolve it as if it were partially executing a maneuver instead. So you can bump with a boost with him. You're just trying to get as close as possible. Boosts get that little bit extra, and yeah, you're gonna get to be able to do your attack. So that's pretty awesome. And you've spent your action, so it's gonna be an unmodified attack, most likely, at least without any other type of modifiers helping them out there. But you get that little extra, push into range 1. They showed us the Ozatec. Wow, I'm getting tired. Ozatuk card here. They've changed around some of the health on this. They've actually reduced it by 1 shield. 6 hull, 2 shields. It has the 180 arc still. Still has the 180 arc, and it gains the barrel roll action, but it is red. Dial-wise, we're at 0 stops now. Other than that, the dial looks pretty similar. It loses the 5 straight red that it has, and the 4 straight is no longer green. It is white. Yeah, nothing too special there. Arc 170, they showed off the Nora Wexley ability. It is going to be the same as what they revealed on the Y-Wing, which brings me to a point here. We did reveal to our patrons, and I'll go ahead and show it to you. Oh, I need to get that to the front. We have updated our Nora Wexley alt art to 2.0. Let's get that so that's actually in front. To 2.0, you see it has that front back arc there, and yeah, so that's going to be available. That's actually currently available for pre-order, and patrons are going to be getting a copy of that in the 3rd quarter of the year swag pack. So this will be printed here probably in the next couple weeks, and we'll be getting those out to people. So that's a super awesome. I've always loved that art, and this is one when they announced 1st edition. I was like, man, I really hope, or sorry, when they announced 2nd edition, I hope that Nora comes back so that we can get a 2.0 version of her card. So that's going to be her. Super awesome art. Anyway, the ability reads, while you defend, if there is an enemy ship at range 0 to 1, you may add 1 evade result to your dice results. Super powerful. This is giving you the effect of what an evade token does in 1st edition. You just add an evade in there, and this is super good. Arc 170, if you haven't seen, is going to be on a medium base. 3 dice out the front, 2 dice out the back. Still has 1 agility, 6 hull, 3 shields. Let's see, they showed Garvin is going to be in an Arc 170. Still has the same ability as before. After you spend a focus token, you may choose 1 friendly ship at range 1 to 3. That ship gains 1 focus token. Oh, chat, you're so funny. They gave us some information on the B-Wing. A lot of people really like B-Wings who fly Rebels. They've reinvigorated it, but they've changed a couple things. So they still has 8 health, but now it's 4 hull and 4 shields. No more 5 shields, 3 hull there. Actions are focus, linked to barrel roll. So it does have 1 set of linked actions. You can target lock or just barrel roll. Still has 3 attack dice out the front, and they showed us the dial. It still has the 2K, which has always kind of sucked, let's be honest, right? While it keeps it as a good knife fighter, you had trouble getting around large base ships. But now it also has 1 Talon rolls. That is a really, really tight turn radius. A 1 Talon roll. Go ahead and grab your 1 hard and look at what that looks like. You're just kind of flipping your ship. But that gives you an opportunity in order that if you are on the edge of a large or a medium base ship, or I guess you'll be able to clear the 2Ks with a medium base. But if you're on the edge of a large base ship, you'll actually be able to turn out and be able to turn around now from behind a large base ship. So that's the biggest change there on that dial. 3 banks are still red, 4 straight is still red, 1 hard are still red. They show us the attack shuttle, the Ezra attack shuttle. Love the art on that one. Has some light inferences to Rebels. I won't give any spoilers there if you haven't watched. And his ability has changed a bit. It says, while you defend or perform an attack, he's initiative 3 by the way. While you defend or perform an attack, if you are stressed, you may spend 1 force to change up to 2 of your eyeball results to evade or hit results. He natively comes with only 1 force charge, so if he's taking multiple attacks, he's not going to be able to be flipping all kinds of focus to evades or hits. So he's limited there. So mind you, we're talking about the attack shuttle, the original attack a shuttle that goes with the Ghost, not the Sheathipede. Actions on this, the ship is going to be focus, evade, and barrel roll linked to evade. But what I find most interesting here is the ship ability text, which refers to it refers to as a carrier ship, which essentially is the Ghost, unless they come out with ways in order to take this ship and connect it to other ships. But it says locked and loaded. While you are docked, after your carrier ship performs a primary front attack or a turret attack, it may perform a bonus rear arc attack. Now, here's a couple of things that that are new. Rear arc attacks on the Ghost are equal to the attack value of the ship that is docked. So when this attack shuttle is docked, the back arc is only 3 dice. When the Sheathipede is docked, it's only 2 dice. So they've lowered the power level here when it comes to how many dice. Now, mind you, one thing to keep in mind here is the fact that this attack happens right when if this was docked, right when the Ghost attacks. So the Ghost performs its turret or its primary and then immediately gets to shoot out the back. But we take away the double tap and the double tap to anything 360 degrees. And if the Ghost doesn't have a target at the back, then it doesn't get to shoot that second one. So that's that is important. Alrighty. So the Sheathipede AP5 was revealed here. It says, while you coordinate, if you choose a ship with exactly 1 stress token, it can perform actions. So giving coordinate to stress ships only can have 1 stress though. And this it has the comm shuttle ship ability, which is essentially the Phantom 2 title. It says, while you are docked, your carrier ship gains the coordinate action. And before your carrier ship activates, it may perform a coordinate action. So same deal here. New thing gained on this dial, it has a 1 reverse, which is I find very interesting. We already talked, they revealed some things about the Ghost. We pretty much talked about that. The rules text with the back arc being only the number of dice with the attached dock ship's attack value is on the Ghosts card themselves. So you'll see that on the Lothal Rebel. Quick change here to the dial is only a 4K. No more 5K for the Ghost, only a 4K. Other than that, it looks pretty similar. I'm just kind of doing a double check here. Yeah, looks pretty similar. 10 hull, 4 shields is now the health on that. That is less than it had before. Didn't it have 16 before? I feel like it had less. I'm sorry, I feel like it had more. Let's double check that. VCX. Yep. So it's lost 2 health. It lost 2 shields in the transition into 2nd edition. It was a really good ship. I understand why they're taking the nerf bat to it. The actions on it are now focus, target lock, and reinforce. So it doesn't have a reinforce action. So it's able to mitigate multiple attacks here. So it has less health, but because it can, it's going to be getting an evade, essentially, with multiple attacks coming at it. They lowered the health there. Hera, Initiative 5 pilot, not 6. Man, they need to respect this woman. Hera is a really good pilot in the fluff. And I think it's Dave Filoni, the creator of Rebels, says that she's like the best. Like she's better than Wedge, I believe is what he says, and better than Luke. So maybe we'll get another ship later with Hera at Initiative 6. But her ability is essentially the same. They just reworded it to fit 2nd edition. It says, after you reveal a red or blue maneuver, you may set your dial to another maneuver of the same difficulty. So same deal there. No change in stats or actions. And they also showed us the Phantom title, which says you can dock at range 0 to 1. And this is the section where they talked about being able to undock and redock ships. Where you can get in and out and be able to engage the shuttle here. And then they also showed us the Ghost title, which says you can dock one attack shuttle or Sheath of Peace class shuttle. Your dock ships can deploy only from your rear guides. So this means that there will be other abilities that allow you to shoot forward, probably. Imitation is a serious. We talked a lot about the Hawk in the Scum section, but they revealed the Initiative 1 pilot. And that's everything for pilots. When it comes to Rebel-specific upgrades, they showed off the Han Solo gunner ability upgrade here. It says, during the engagement phase at Initiative 7, so this is kind of getting that Rourke ability. You're shooting before everybody else. Han shot first. You may perform a mobile arc attack. You cannot attack from that mobile arc again this round. So that means that in the same turn, you can shoot from your mobile arc, from one of the mobile arcs, and then shoot from another one if you have two. So, like, if you have this on a not Han Solo Millennium Falcon, you're going to be able to shoot one side and then the other in the same turn. So watch out for that Han Solo crew. They've made it significantly better. And just kind of taking a quick scroll here for Rebel-only stuff. Let's talk about Sabine, because Sabine has gotten changed significantly, and they've made her more of a control piece. I still think it's really good. It's just different now. So it says, Sabine Wren, at setup, place one ion, jam, stress, and tractor token on this card. After a ship suffers the effect of a friendly bomb, of one of your bombs when your enemy does, you may remove any one of those tokens from Sabine, and if you do, that ship gains a matching token. So essentially what you're doing is you have 4 different tokens in reserve. You can use each of them once when a bomb goes off. It doesn't do extra damage. Sabine has become more of a control piece. I really like this. I like this a lot. I think it's more thematic than her doing extra damage. It limits the amount of times you can do it, but it gives your opponent opportunities to decide whether or not it's worth it to take a bomb, and what options are open to you. There's the strategy of being able to, if you have a rock nearby, and being able to tractor beam somebody or ion them into another rock. Stress is always can suck if you end up getting double stressed or anything like that. So yeah, really cool ability there. Maul, of course, is available to be used by Rebels, but only in squads that have Ezra. That we've all seen before. And yeah, so I believe that's all the Rebel exclusive things. I am going to place in the description of this video and this podcast the links to what we did, because there's a lot of documents out there, but nobody has them organized by faction right now. They're just kind of in a giant list. So I took the time to do that. Thank you for everybody who has gathered that information. That has helped, though. So, you know, we got a lot of information. I know people were super surprised by how much stuff was actually inside the conversion kits. I mean, it's a lot. I'm very happy. I think it's more than worth the money. I mean, there's a stack of cards. I mean, it was like 4 inches high. Tons of cards. In all of them, I am impressed that FFG actually took the time to make this product for us and not force us to buy everything. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Yeah, I mean, so we went through all of that. Thank you everybody who's watched today. My mind is still reeling. I mean, I did a cast on Friday talking about this, and there's still, even going through this, I'm still absorbing this information, and we're gonna have to really take our time and start putting more combos together. I will say, going through this for a third time in reality, I was able to start seeing how some abilities are going to be able to interact with each other. So that's awesome. I know none of our guys are here anymore. I'm the last one standing, but that's why I'm here, guys. I'm the trooper. we're going to move into our what have you done with those plans section. What have you done with those plans? A couple of cool events are coming up. I want to give a shout out to the Las Vegas Open. While I can't be there because I'm going to actually be at a family's wedding that weekend, February 8th through the 10th, 2019 is going to be the Las Vegas Open. And they wanted me to tell you guys that registration opens on June 1st. They're going to be hosting a huge X-Wing event. They actually hold one of the biggest Warhammer events, and their goal is to take what they've done with Warhammer and take it to X-Wing. And hopefully next year I'll be able to make it out there. They want to make it big. Next year they said, hey, I know that you can't make it in 19, but in 2020 we want to bring Gold Squadron out and stream it and do all that. So go ahead and check out the Las Vegas Open, and that's super easy to find online. Just go ahead and look up Las Vegas Open, and yeah, so you can always watch our live X-Wing events and content at twitch.tv/Gold Squadron Podcast. This weekend coming up here, that's May 25th. Sorry, let me just go ahead and look at my calendar. I'm guessing off the top of my head because I didn't write the date in my notes. The 26th and the 27th, we're going to be streaming all day. From Kubla Khan, the System Open there in California. Still lots of X-Wing being played. Even though it's first edition and people maybe don't super care about the gameplay, I'm actually going to be taking some side time and bringing materials in order to play second edition with some of the top players that are there when we have some time. And people are still playing for those Coruscant invites because it's going to be the first ever premiere event for X-Wing 2.0. So let's find out who's going to get those invites. You can watch our video replays of our streams and our premiere level coverage on our YouTube page. Go ahead and just look up Gold Squadron Podcast, subscribe, do all the button things, click the bell for notifications. And lastly, if you enjoy the show and you want to help us expand the content, keep growing it, there's a couple of ways that you can help support our content. Let's talk about free, because everybody likes doing things for free. It just takes a couple minutes. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can connect your Amazon Prime account to Twitch because they're owned by the same people. They give you one free Twitch Prime subscription every 30 days. If you give that to Gold Squadron Podcast, you actually throw $2 and change our way, and it costs you nothing. It's just part of your Prime membership. So go ahead, click that button. Thank you to everybody who's taken the time to do that. You can go to goldsquadronpodcast.com and buy Gold Squadron Podcast swag. We're going to be having X-Wing 2.0 templates up there in a couple of weeks after we take care of our patrons. And lastly, if you want to join the largest group of people that make Gold Squadron possible, make it possible for me to travel across the United States and bring you guys coverage, and upcoming soon all the 2.0 stuff that's going to be happening around the US, go to patreon.com/Gold Squadron, get awesome swag while making Gold Squadron Podcast run, because without you guys I couldn't do it. So thank you so much for William, Nate, and Marcel, who are no longer here. My name is Dio Morales. Gold Squadron out. Looking for the button. There it is. Good night.